And joining us is retired Army Major General Paul Eaton, senior advisor to VoteVets. Major General Eaton, hearing all that you just heard me read from two different publications, the New York Times quoting this man's mom, Pete Hegseth's mother, and also the New Yorker, the Jane Mayer piece, would you promote someone like that to any position in the military under your command?
Joy, the short answer is no. When your mother says you're a cad, when the Koch brothers fire you, we are now in the world of you can't make this stuff up. And I'd like to bring up, while we're talking about the senior civilian leader of the Department of Defense, we have something called the Personnel Reliability Program. Not sure if you've heard of it, but shortly, anybody in the nuclear release chain has to be vetted under the work of the Personnel Reliability Program. And they get into far more important things than just security clearances. They get into the psychology of the person, the reliability of the person, and all the behaviors that we're finding out now would be an immediate disqualifier and multiple disqualifiers for the PRP, the Personnel Reliability Program. So Senators Tuberville and men like him might want to revisit their glib commentary that they've put out there.
The interesting thing about it is, Major General Eaton, I mean, isn't infidelity a cause for a finding of misconduct? Just that alone? Would drunkenness and infidelity be acceptable among the major, the general ranks of the military?
Joy, as you know, any organization looks to the senior leader of the organization to establish the good order and discipline of the organization. And infidelity is a chargeable offense, will cause untold anguish to any perpetrator. And I mean, it's created generals going to colonel because the rank last honorably served is the rank they will retire at. So he has committed multiple offenses that would not pass muster to the chain of command.
Olivia, Peter Hegseth himself has described himself as a Christian who adheres to Christian family values. In a short-lived bid for the Republican nomination for a Minnesota seat to the U.S. Senate in 2012, he credited his parents for instilling those values, saying, "I didn't learn conservatism out of a book." He presents himself supposedly as a committed Christian who wants to bring Christianity back into our schools and back into the military and make the military a more honorable organization. But your thoughts on what his mom says he is? Or at least what she said he was in 2018.
Yeah, well, certainly I think this is another example of the hypocrisy running deep here with this individual, because, I would believe his mom. And if she's the person that raised them with these conservative values, that's probably why she was writing this email, because she was deeply upset at the time at what she was seeing. And look, mamas know their sons, right? I mean, I'm very close to my mom. My mom knows me very, very well. They know who you are and what you're not. And so I would say, that something like that should give people great pause. He's coming from someone that's in his own family. The other thing that I'll say to follow up on what General Eaton said is, I think about what he would be like in the role of Secretary of Defense, not only in terms of leading the department, leading the people that serve under it, but what he looks like when he's serving in that role to our foreign partners, when he's overseas in these countries, and what the heck is he going to be doing as a leader in that role on the ground? Because to me, he's the perfect counterintelligence threat. He's the perfect prime target of foreign adversaries who are familiar with the pattern of behavior, because they will be digging into this themselves, who are paying close attention to this, and they will exploit it.
Yes, and I want to definitely, yes, and Major General Eaton, I think that is a huge point. I mean, right, John Tower, back in, when was this, in '89, this was George Herbert Walker Bush's choice to be DOD chair, and it was a Democratic-controlled Senate, but they downed that nomination because of things like public intoxication, relations with women, relationships with defense contractors. So he went down because of ethics, right? And so now you're facing somebody who, to Olivia's point, could be a national security risk. I mean, you've got got Elon Musk threatening to go after Colonel Vindman, who is honorably served in the military because he has spoken negatively about Donald Trump. Elon Musk is threatening him, accusing him of being on the payroll of Ukrainian oligarchs, saying he committed treason and he'll pay the appropriate penalty. You should take that threat seriously because Elon controls Donald Trump. How would we look to the rest of the world if you've got Elon Musk threatening, who a now duly elected member of Congress? Colonel Vindman has been elected to Congress. And meanwhile, our defense secretary has this background, which they can Google.
Joy, you and Olivia are spot on. And I just paint a picture here. The tank is where the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Secretary of Defense meet to discuss matters of extraordinary importance. When Lloyd Austin walks into that room, he commands their absolute respect, and he walks in with a gravitas unknown to most men. So imagine Pete Hegseth with this history, with his mother echoing in the chamber, surrounded by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the men and women who operate all the levers of the U.S. military, the greatest in the world. And can you imagine what they are thinking if a guy like Hegseth walks into the room to take charge of the Defense Department? I know what I'd be thinking. I'm sure I know what you're thinking.
You can imagine, sir, what I'm thinking. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for us as a country, honestly, just thinking about trading in a four-star general with all of the gravitas that you described that Lloyd Austin has. He walks onto the TV, and I sit up a little straighter because he has such great gravitas. Replacing him with a dude from Weekend Fox, who with this history, it embarrasses me as an American. And we shall see, because I don't trust our United States Senate, our Republican-controlled Senate, to say no. But they have been warned. Olivia Troy and retired Army Major General Paul Eaton, who also has tremendous gravitas. Whenever you're on with us, sir, we also sit up a bit straighter, as we do with you, my friend Olivia Troy, because you have done the work.
You're
Thank
most
you
kind.
both for all that you've done. Cheers. And coming up, even more of Trump's crony capitalism. Cheers. Even more of Trump's crony capitalism.